You are very welcome to this, the Bitcoin Tarot podcast for the week starting the 8th of March 2018 with me, Cosmic Conroy. A day early this week because of scheduling issues that will make recording impossible tomorrow, but what a time to be making a show! Someone appears to have stolen a whole truckload of Binance API keys and has been wreaking havoc across the whole cryptoscape, market selling everyone's coin to buy VIA and causing that price to shoot up by 600% in just 20 minutes. This spooked the markets and the price of Bitcoin has dropped by 10% in about an hour. Last week, the cards predicted that if Bitcoin could just overcome its fears, then it will receive the just rewards of virtue. It seems Bitcoin could not overcome its fears, and instead the currency markets are reaping the rewards of treachery and theft and hacking. Will things be better next week? We turn as always to the cards for the answer. We'll do our usual 4-card reading. And the first card represents the last 7 days in Bitcoin. And that card is the Knight of Swords. The Knight is a messenger who warns us against hastiness and recklessness. During the last week, the price of Bitcoin grew up 6% in just a few small days until, well, as last week's cards predicted might happen, fear overtook the markets and our rewards fell aside. The last couple of days saw a downturn from this reckless growth and then finally a terrible tumble on the news of some users' Binance API keys leaking and causing havoc. So this card does seem to represent the last week quite well. Our next card, representing the present moment, is the Ace of Discs. The aces all represent new beginnings and births, and the discs are usually concerned with money. So the Ace of Discs represents success and purity and opportunity. Perhaps the current moment is an opportunity. There are new cheap Bitcoins. Soon the market will realise the shallowness of the news and will continue to grow up past its current price of $9,800. Will that lead to new wealth over the coming week? We'll find out with our next card, representing the future of Bitcoin, the next 7 days. I know this is the one everyone waits for. And that card is the 20th trump card, known as the Aeon or Judgement. This card is associated with a phoenix, a resurrection, a rising from the ashes, the beginning of a new era. So it would seem that we're likely to be reborn from this battle, fortified, wiser and stronger. But why? Our final card represents causality, a meta overview of the Bitcoin project, explaining the reasons why recklessness may lead to rebirth and a new era. And that final card, it's the Knight of Cups. The Knight represents emotional maturity and self-discipline, attraction, charm and imagination. This setback will lead to a rebirth because the community is disciplined and fastidious and will use all its intelligence to figure out what happened and prevent it happening again, once again making Bitcoin stronger and more powerful. Recklessness has caused a setback, but it will lead to a stronger phoenix. Unfortunately, that's the end of this week's reading. I'd like to spend all day doing a more detailed show, including altcoins and a larger spread of cards and perhaps some user questions, but I can't afford to skip work. And so, the fundraiser. Last week, we received 0.0 Bitcoin, 0.01 Ether, 0.0 Bitcoin Cash, and 0.0 Redcoin. That puts our total at 0.000756 Bitcoin out of 0.05 Bitcoin needed to pay for an in-depth reading. And ETH is in the lead for which alt currency I should focus on when I do that reading. So if you want to make that happen, support your preferred currency and support this podcast, make your donations. I accept Bitcoin, of course. No amount is too small. Here's the address for that. If Bitcoin wins the fundraising competition, we'll ignore all of the other altcoins and focus entirely on Bitcoin for the whole show. We also have an Ethereum address. ETH is currently winning the fundraising drive, and if it's still winning in the lead when we get to the end, I'll do a side reading focused entirely upon ETH, perhaps about ERC20 tokens. So support ETH by sending to this address right now. Or if you're sick of both of the two market leaders and want to give Bitcoin Core a good kicking, you can donate with this Bitcoin Cash address. If Bitcoin Cash is winning when we reach our target, I'll do a reading on block size and on whether refusing to implement SegWit is just an excuse to keep ASIC boost hardware running. One final option taking up the rear, Redcoin seems to be a plucky, resolute currency devoted to tipping and rewarding artists and mystics like myself. If Red is in the lead when we get to the end of the fundraising competition, I'll do a reading about proof of stake, which Redcoin uses, and about how to reserve your blockchain username. We're just 3% of the way there, folks. It's all still to play for, and if you can't pay, you can always like or share. And whether you help support your favourite coin and my favourite podcast, or whether you don't, may the Bitcoin bless you.